Hi, you guys. So I hope you had a great Christmas and New Year's. It's been 2 weeks since I've seen you guys on here. Hope you're well. We have a lot to talk about and catch up on, and I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. So I'm going to quickly tell you a bunch of gossip, and then we're going to get right into tonight's episode, which had some tea in it. Okay, so first, let's start with this. Oh, really quick, in the Patreon today in my bonus audio, I did a deep dive on all the new cast members that are going to be on Sir Rules, which is the new show coming out to replace Vanderpump Rules. So get in there and listen to that one. It's really good. So right around Christmas Eve, Kim Richards is staying at Kyle Richards' house. Kathy Hilton announced that she was going to be spending time with Kim and Kyle over the holiday, intermingled with other plans they all had. And Kim is at Kyle's house, and the cops are called because she says she's missing her cat. And when they get there, they think that she's acting erratic and she might be high or on something and medicated. And as you guys know, there were some incidences with Kim Richards in late September and early September where she was put in a 5150 hold, and she also was, the cops were called, I think, when she was around the Hilton because she was acting erratic again. Anyway, Kim Richards ends up having to be analyzed, I guess, by the cops at Kyle's house, and then they decide to let her go. But then they end up doing a well-being check on her later in the weekend at her own house because I think Kyle let her go back to the house that she lets her stay at. Originally, she cut her off from the house because she was trying to force her to get sober and snap out of it. And tough love was the way to go, but it didn't work. So Kyle, I guess, let her back in. Anyway, that's what's going on. Kathy and Kyle kind of tried to make it sound like everything was great over the holiday, but obviously it wasn't. And I reached out to Kathy and I told her that Ozempic or semaglutide really helps with all sorts of addictions in my experience. They're experimenting with that to help people get over addictions, the medication. So I said to Kathy she should look into it for Kim. I mean, what can I do? Maybe Kathy will listen to me. I care still for Kim. Back in the day, I tried to help her with vitamin B shots. I know it's very challenging to get off addictions, especially when you don't trust anybody, because Kim doesn't, and it's fair enough why she doesn't. And good old slut pig didn't let us down. She went ahead and used Kim Richards being sick as a way to do clickbait. Yep. To, I guess, make money. Jeez. Man, get a life. In addition to Kim living at Kyle Richards' house, we also have Teddi Mellencamp living there in between her visitation with her kids at the family home. And she's been having anxiety attacks and all this stuff she's been posting online. And I, feel like saying two things to her, which is, better not to cheat because that definitely causes some anxiety. And for crying out loud, eat something, lady. Eat something. It'll make you feel a lot better. So then Erika's full of joy because she is now going on Broadway again as Roxy Hart. She drops a teaser January 20th to February 9th, and she's selling tickets. So she took this back off Ariana again and got another shot. And here we go. So Dorit spends the holiday with her kids, and she's in Park City, Utah, seemingly alone. Then she ends up in New York, which is her old stomping ground where all her old, True Blue friends are. And she ends up with this hot guy from Portugal who's actually a model furniture designer. And he's been friends with her for years. It goes way back, and they're just friends. And they always take pictures where they post love you, you're my baby, all this stuff. Remember, everyone in that clique calls each other baby. So it's not if I call a guy baby, you might want to pay attention. But Dorit calls everybody baby. Kyle walks in the door, she's like, baby. PK's home, baby. So this is just another baby. No big deal here. Nothing to see here, kids. Plus, she doesn't want to trigger PK right now with a man, trust me. Although PK is gallivanting around. By the way, Alex Baskin, you know, you make Dorit do all this work this season, and you gave her daughter like 2 seconds in the beginning with her effort on Nutcracker. Now, I went to Dorit Kemsley's Insta and saw her daughter performing with more footage. I mean, not the crap they showed on tonight's show. And her daughter did a super impressive job as the lead in the Nutcracker and was very impressive. And I was like, why can't they bring some of this in the show once in a while? Like, I mean, sadly, this PPP loan that Dorit Kemsley took out during COVID for $20,832, I guess for her salary to do with this company, well, it didn't work because the company shut down their website sometime in 2023. And although the company is active, they're not doing business at the moment, or at least they don't have any website or retail that we could find. So sad. Maybe she could take some of her $700,000 plus salary and revive it. I should have taken out a freaking PPP loan. These people who took these, geez, they didn't need the money. In case you were wondering, Mauricio is still being sued by a whistleblower for $3.5 million for the PPP loan he took. What happened was he filed a counter motion to the lawsuit to get it dismissed on the basis that the people didn't have insider information of his financials to make the claims they did. And they said that's ridiculous because based on public information, there was no way that he qualified for the PPP loan at the $3.5 million level, which I think was forgiven. Like, talk about making rich people richer. So they said, no, this case shouldn't be dismissed, and a judge is deciding now. And if it moves forward, then he'll have to do disclosure. And of course, the cops are watching because they are now going after people that took these loans that shouldn't have. We'll see. We'll see. So Lisa Vanderpump went on a show recently and said that the only way that she would ever reconnect with Kyle Richards would be if there had been an apology. And although they ran into each other and were cordial with each other, she wouldn't, ever reconnect with Kyle unless it was with an apology. And Kyle Richards clapped back with this.
Thoughts on rekindling your friendship? Yes, LVP said that it would have to start with an apology. And, by the way, nobody's asking to, sorry. So don't hold your breath. Happy holidays.
Meanwhile, PK is very pissed at Dorit behind the cameras. He feels like everything she's saying on the show is kind of BS. It wasn't his raging alcoholism that destroyed their marriage, although that she's trying to pinpoint it on that. Yes, their relationship was toxic and had completely broken down, but, they had covered it up to the audience for years. And so it appears like it all happened rapid fire, but it had been going on for a very long period of time. Anyway, PK feels like he's got no platform and she's got all the platform and she's doing him dirty and he's pissed. He's pissed like PK gets. Guess who's the see you next Tuesday of the week now? Not me anymore, Dorit. He does say he's sober, though, so every time he goes out and parties with Mauricio, he's just, happy. Now, sober could mean California sober, meaning he could be doing pot, just not alcohol. Just saying, because he does act weird. Oh, my God, you guys, I forgot to mention that Pacific Palisades is having a massive fire right now. A big wildfire, and the Getty on the cliff, the new one that they built, 10 or 12 years ago, is in danger of burning down, and all these mega mansions are burning, and it's crazy. It's crazy. Currently, the Patreons know that Kyle and Dorit are friends. Sutton Strack is kind of on her own island, honestly, and it's been an interesting holiday, we'll just say that, with the dynamics amongst the women. All right, well, let's get into tonight's show and we'll get some more gossip and tea out of it. Okay. So we open up tonight's show and we see Dorit's daughter like for 2 seconds practicing, and it's more about her conversation with Boz, recapping, how awful things have become with Sutton Strack because Sutton keeps pretending to be her friend and then weaponizing things against Dorit. And Bose is just trying to be supportive and understand the circumstances. Anyway, we then jump to Bose, who, by the way, hosted for CNN the ball drop in Ghana, of all places. The first time ever for Africa to do a ball drop that was televised on television, and Boz hosted it, and it was aired during Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper's New Year's live show. So she's in deep. Anyway, Bose is with this guy. His name is Keely Watson. I guess he lives in San Diego, and she's been with him at the time that they're doing the show, or the show is shooting, 8 months. So if she's still with him, it would be, almost a year and a half now. So there he is. Now get digging. Okay, I couldn't wait for you guys. So Keely was born in Pasadena. I guess he was a substitute teacher till he could afford to become an actor. And he acted in a few films, nothing you would really have heard of. And he did that for a while. And then I guess he must have moved out to San Diego, and he became an executive surgical device specialist and field sales trainer at Medtronic. And it looks like he went to University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and there he is, San Diego County, California. So that's what I got on him so far. Medtronic does devices and surgical equipment to do with hernias. That could come in handy with Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And he worked for Paychex, the company CHEX, Paychex, as a sales representative for a few years as well. Well, we can only hope that his intentions are pure with Bose, and all the fancy things she has isn't what's attracting him to her. So then we see Dorit's parents, and they meet Bose when she comes over. They're helping Dorit out because PK is kind of MIA, and she's doing everything on her own.
And Pumpkin, you got a welcome party.
How are you?
My mother, Rachel.
So nice to meet you.
My father, Shalom.
Nice,
really a pleasure to meet you.
So nice to meet you.
Hear so much about you from this young lady over
Wonderful.
I'm going to leave you. Post and I are going to have a little girl time.
Okay, which way are we going? This way?
Yeah, this way.
It was so nice.
So in this scene, we find out that Dorit has a therapy session with PK Kemsley, and it's 4 hours long. And during the therapy session, PK blurts out, "This is the reason I want a divorce." And the D word hadn't been brought up yet. Now it was out there. And then he got more angry, and he ended up storming out of the session. And that was the end of that. And they're not talking. So then there's a scene where Garcelle finally shares something deep, which the audience has been like, you better do something soon, because she just keeps using this as like a way to demonstrate how awesome she is, the show. And, fans don't like that. So she talks about Oliver and how he had very bad drug addictions. And at a certain point, he's homeless. And he's high one night. He comes to the door. She's with a friend. She doesn't let him in, even though she knows he's high, because he's totally erratic and weird. And she makes him homeless for the night, and maybe longer, we don't know. But, at that point, when he was locked out and cut off from all the money and the family, that's when he snapped out of it, got help, and got sober. And I guess also having his son, which, that didn't go well with the mother, but whatever. That's Vanderpump Rules' problem. So then we move on, and one of the housewives says they're going to an event for GLAAD or something for Erika Jayne Girardi at Viper Room, but then it turns out it's not really an official GLAAD event we're going to. It's a publicity firm named Posse that is doing Pride event that Erika is launching her single at, which she's not singing, she's just playing for the crowd, called Domino. Now, I had a feeling GLAAD did not invite Erika Jayne Girardi to do something for them, like in some official capacity, because the gay community, from what I was told by some pretty important people in it, is not approving Erika Jayne Girardi anymore because of what she did to Marco, because he's beloved in that community and she ruined his life and did it to get, free costumes, didn't want to pay her bill and hustled $1 million in costumes and made this man look like a fraudster. Anyway, this is going to be heard in 2025, this case, finally. But let's just put it this way. She's not as loved by the gays as she once was because of all this. So then Kyle admits that her and Kesha became friends via Instagram, which is strange, but that's what happened. And they became besties and started doing everything together. She made a lot of appearances with Morgan Wade and Kyle too, going out with them. And she says really nice things about her lately on her Amazon Lives. And so that's it. Kesha's, I guess, another singer friend of Kyle. Remember, Kyle's family really admired singers, always. Remember, Big Kathy was all about wanting to be a singer when she was young, and that was a big thing in their family. So obviously Kyle's attracted to singers because it's something that in the family people want to be. I know, isn't that funny? It's like in their blood. They want to be singers, even if they can't sing. So they all go to the Viper Room, and Erika gets on stage and plays her song Domino, and then the fights begin. The fights really were Bose taking on Sutton for coming for Dorit and saying that Dorit's miserable in her life, and that is why she's acting out towards Sutton. And Dorit's like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm acting out against you because you keep coming for me with these little digs and jabs and getting it all in my business, and I don't think you have good intentions. And then, so Bose is sticking up for Dorit, and then Sutton's like, well, maybe you should give me some time and attention and then understand my perspective for a second. And Bose is just like not seeing that yet. She sees Sutton as kind of a manipulator. And then they all sit down, and Dorit says to Kyle, are you talking to PK? I want to know. And then Kyle downplays it and says, well, I may have spoken to him this week, but it was just memes and one-liners, which we all know is bullshit. And he's been a better friend to me than you have been lately because they aren't talking and didn't talk for months. And so there's all that. But really, PK is really tight with Mauricio. And of course, he's going to stay in contact with Kyle if he's lost contact with Dorit. I mean, PK is a networker. That's his thing. So, yeah, and Kyle downplays it, doesn't say what the memes are. The memes are, of course, PK making fun of Dorit, but we don't get to find out. And Dorit never asked to see the text, as I started with in this video. So annoying. Like, why wouldn't you say, if you're going to text my husband, I want to see him? Like, if you have nothing to hide, show me him, right? And then Dorit brings up that if it had been her, Kyle would be pissed. And to that, I say, Kyle is pissed because of the flirting with Mauricio you did, and that's why she's been allowing PK to DM her. Just saying, tit for tat, lady. At the end, Kyle starts yelling at Dorit, and Dorit's like, I'm not taking your bullshit anymore, and it just keeps elevating, and they're just screaming at each other, and the women are trying to break it up, and it doesn't end, and they do to be continued, and that's that. Wah, wah. The problem with Dorit and Kyle is they've been on the show for so long, and they did develop a real friendship, which Dorit felt more for than Kyle did. And when you do that on this show and you are in a position where you really want to fight, it's very challenging because it's real for you. You're not just acting like I'm going to take this a-hole out on my show like a cast member. You're like, oh my God, I'm saying this to Kyle. It means something. And there's real consequences. And so that's why you see these women trying to fight aggressively, but it's really hard. It's not that dramatic because they are actually really feeling the fight versus the dramatic fights are the ones that the women aren't really feeling. They're acting. So it's wild stuff. But this was a real fight. Oh, in my bonus audio from not this Tuesday, but last Tuesday, I tell you the secret as to why Dorit has finally lost it with everyone and is doing what she's doing on this season. and I will not spill it out here. You have to go listen to it. Nee. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. Bye, you guys.